Yo, what's going on, everyone? I'm David Saborio, guitar professor at Avalon School of Music, once again with the great piano and vocal instructor phenomenon, Isiak Holiday. And here we're going to talk, well, the subject is going to be dealing with helicopter parents, right? So I'm going to start off with the first question. So, Mr. Isiak, you know that you deal with a lot of students of different ages, different levels, and all that. Mm-hmm. But how important is it to develop a relationship with their parents? Is it all that important? Should that be a big priority for us as music instructors?
I think for me, I think that is the most important relationship because they're paying.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, well, but it's like this. They're paying us to teach their child. And so they are sort of saying, hey, you know, even if they know about music, mm-hmm. they're saying, hey, I want you to teach my child. And so, you know, we want the best for our children. And so what you have to do is you have to make sure that that is the most important relationship. Because if you don't have a relationship with the parents, then that's just going to cause just a lot of drama. Mm-hmm. And so once you can set that boundary first, when they first get there, that's going to be your most important relationship.
Okay, but would it be safe to say that parents, they vary? So some of them might have different type of objectives that they want their child to acquire, like, because I'm sure some of them just want their child to be able to play songs. Some of them might want to be able to develop a very good understanding with the theory behind music, or even go further beyond. So, like, don't different values of parents differ from time to time?
Yeah, they do. And certain parents, let's just say, well, yeah, they all differ. They all say, hey, you know, I want them to be this. But then you also have to set realistic expectations, because sometimes a lot of the parents will say, oh, my child, he's so great, or she's so great, and she can do this and she can do that. And then what happens is when they come into the studio, you know, let's just say a singer, they can't match the pitch. Now, maybe they can sing with a karaoke track or something like that. And so the parents are like, oh, they're wonderful. You know, they can be the next, you know, whatever, insert the star's name. Yeah. And so they want their children to be the next big, greatest gift to music. But then you have to start them off. If they can't match pitch by themselves, then you have to start off with the basics. And so the parents, and then you just have to tell the parents, and you have to be realistic, but you have to say it in such a way that one, you never, that you are always boosting up the child. You never, you know, talking bad about them.
That makes sense. But okay, but let me ask you this.
Okay.
Okay, no, because obviously
he's trying to pick my brain here.
Yeah.
All right.
Because what you go for with at least for the beginner students, you know, your objective is have them leave the room by being able to play a song or two, you know, even if it's the most simple thing. But at what point in their lessons, like at what time frame do you start working on them with technique? Because that's just as important, you know?
Well, I think technique also starts from the beginning, something as simple as, now the first couple of lessons, yes, especially if they have no music background, then we're teaching them how to hold their fingers. But now within, you know, it takes a few lessons, depending on the child, you know, understanding staccato and legato. But I think for the most part, most teachers, we start from the very beginning. Now our expectations, as we train them and they get to where we want them to be, our expectations are a little bit, you know, our expectations are a little bit, you know, larger, of course, but pretty much as far as that technique is concerned, you really start from the beginning, because they have to know how to hold their fingers. So then that starts from the very beginning. A lot of teachers don't do that. Now I'll tell them, okay, this is how we do it, but most of them end up playing flat fingers, you know, but they're just getting used to playing. And I just a gentle reminder, hey, just remember to curve your fingers, okay? Let's try this. Oh, great job. Now let's try this. Now, you know, if they get a few of them correct and a few of them are still, they start to, you know, the fingers start to get a little bit long. I'm okay with that, because as long as they show me that they're able to get it, I think it's fine.
Okay, and the reason I bring that up is because a lot of these beginner students, some of their families or parents, they come from, you know, musical backgrounds, you know? And if you only teach them just how to do songs or stuff like that, tunes, but their technique is completely sloppy, even when they're practicing, the parents are going to catch on, and they'll probably pull them out of the lesson if this continues on in that frame. So that's why I was asking. But
they won't.
They won't?
No, they won't. Here's the reason why. for most students nowadays, I don't know about for guitar, but I know for piano, most parents, they want their children to be happy. Most of my parents say, hey, I'm not expecting them to be a great pianist. I just want them to have a love of music. And so if this were a conservatory, where we did contests and where we did all of that, those things would matter. I'm not saying they don't matter. But when you have realistic parents, they say, hey, you know what? I loved music as a child. I wish my parents had made me stay in. And a lot of them are trying to instill that love of music because they already know that most their children, they're going to go off and do other things. But they want them to have something to where they can have an outlet. Okay? And so again, if this were a conservatory and we spend so much time with technique, I think that turns off a lot of students. A lot of students come to me from other teachers. If that teacher has spent so much time on technique, the child said, hey, can I learn a Taylor Swift song on piano? Okay. And I'm not, shouting out Taylor Swift, but a lot of students come in wanting to sing Taylor Swift or they want to play Taylor Swift. And so what happens is, well, no, we got to get the technique right first. No, my client wants to learn Taylor Swift or John Legend or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I want to tailor the lesson to them because at the end of the lesson, I get them for 30 minutes. That's all I get. And by the time the pleasantries, hello, how are you? Then at the end, we give out tickets as little incentives and stickers and all of that. You're basically down to about 25, 26 minutes of lesson time. So I want to maximize that time. So when they leave, I want them to have a smile on their face. Or in one case, I had a student, she or I've had several, they'll cry at the end of the lesson, but they say, well, I didn't get it right. But then I have to sort of get them to think about it, but did you try? And if you tried, then we're good. So that means that next week when you come, it's going to be even better. Guess what? They're smiling by the end of the lesson. Guess what? Parents are happy.
So that's the goal then. So develop an appreciation and satisfaction for themselves as musicians and as students then.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of teachers tend to overlook that. They care more about, as I stated, technique or being able to develop all that knowledge of the whole background with what they're learning.
I agree. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I agree that those things are important. So I don't want to think that they are not important. Uh-huh. But when we make those the most important thing, and then we don't gear the child to the love of music for the love of music, then we're defeating the whole purpose. Mm-hmm. What's the point of learning all of these pieces and getting all of the ribbons and stuff? But in ninth grade they hate it so much that they quit, and then they don't pick it up for another 10 or 15 years.
That makes you feel as a teacher, doesn't it?
Well, what it is, what's the focus? And so, and I guess, I don't know, it's just different for me. Yeah. I'm more client focused. I'm not technique focused. Right. Do they learn technique? Yes, they do. But when they leave out of here and they say, oh, Mom, look at what I can play. They're not going to ask about, parents aren't going to ask about technique, not once. Even, and I've had several parents that they have masters, and I think in one case I had one. He had a PhD in piano performance. Okay, but not once did he ask me about the technique for his child. Not once. The child left out of here happy. He wanted to show the kid wanted to show his dad, what he had learned, and the child was so happy. So guess what? I had a happy client. Dad didn't ask me about technique. Now, granted, he could see that there was some technique involved, but the child was like, hey, Dad, let me show you this. And he started playing in it. That's what it's all about. That's what we're here to cultivate. We're here to cultivate that love of music.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Now, while we're on the subject, mentioning about the parents, because we did talk about helicopter parents, okay? Oh, sorry, quote unquote helicopter parents. Yeah. So, and what that is like where you have parents sit in during the lesson, observing how you're teaching their child and all that. Mm-hmm. Now, would you say that as a teacher, would that affect how the teaching atmosphere in your studio? or do you just try to keep everything the same as if the parent wasn't there? And maybe let me rephrase that, or as if just things are just totally good, everyone's just nice and chill, just as if we're just in a normal scenario.
Now, that's kind of a touchy subject. And so what I'm getting ready to say is, for the beginning teacher, you're looking to start your studio, you have to start from the very beginning to set the standard for your studio, because parents are going to want to come in. Okay, so I have a thing that I say, and I made a mistake early on in my career where I didn't do this. Well, I didn't set that boundary. Then the parent tried to tell me what to do. It only takes one time to mess up. It only takes one time. And so, the parent comes in and said, no, you should do this, you should do this. All righty? So I said, okay, well, this probably won't work because, back then, I kind of had a mouth on me. And I said, if you can teach it, then you teach them. Don't bring them to me. I don't say that anymore. Okay, I don't say that anymore. So when they come in and by the way, just for those who don't know, we do meet and greets here. So where the child and the parent, they come in, and you basically give them a lesson. So the parent get to see how you teach, and so but then they you see how the child responds to your teaching, and so but when I bring them in, I set the rules for my studio. And I tell the parents, I say, you know what? I said, you don't even have to tell me. You come in anytime you want to. I don't care. You come in anytime you want to. The only thing that I request is that you don't tell me how to teach. Mm-hmm. I've never had a parent get mad about that. Why? Because they're saying, hey, we're paying, and so we, you do it. Mm-hmm. That's what most parents say. They say, no. They say, I just want to know that if you mind if I sit in. I don't care. They're paying, and they want to see the progress of their child. They want to just, every once in a while, they just want to do what I call like a spot check. They want to say, hey, let me just see what's going on. And I tell my parents, you don't even have to tell me. You just come in. I don't care. Because if you set high standards and you start from day one with those standards, and if you're not doing anything shady, the parent can come in anytime. Some teachers, especially when you're not secure in your teaching, they'll say, well, whatever. Mm-hmm. Sometimes parents can be intimidating, and maybe with me being a man, I don't have as many problems. But I know some tough female teachers. So I don't even want to sound sexist, but I know some tough female teachers. They have high standards for their studio, and and again, this is our studio. And if a parent comes in and they don't like what we do, I have the option to say, I can go to our administrative assistant and say, this is not going to work. The parent, blah, 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 blah. And I haven't had to do that.
Okay.
So, but now for the more experienced teacher, you're going in and you're taking over someone's studio. The premise is still the same. You still have to say, this is what I accept. Anything outside of that, I can't accept that, especially from parents. Right. But if you talk to parents, if the parents, I have just never had a parent that was a helicopter parent. You can tell they'll sit in, and so I've never had that issue where a parent just got mad about it, and if they did, they never told me. And so most of the students that I have now, I've had at least a year. I got a few this year, and so it's simply not a problem, because as long as you set those expectations and at the beginning, and the parents know what's up. I think most parents just want you to be honest with them. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Don't try to BS them. They don't want that. They're paying money. They just want to know that their child is going to be safe, that the child is going to get a great education here, and we're going to help develop that love of music.
Good grief, man. That is just so profound. That's just like everything you said made absolute sense, and it's right. You are absolutely right. Mm-hmm. Now, this is where we're going to go full circle, kind of going back to my very first question. Because parents, let's say the parents who don't sit in on their, in your studio to mm-hmm. observe their child's progress, mm-hmm. like they're going to be waiting in the lobby until the lesson's over, right? Mm-hmm. Would you say it's just as important to interact with the parent before and after the lesson, tell them like how their child is doing, tell them what they're working on, and also just give them a bunch of good positive feedback?
That varies with the parent, because some of our parents, they don't even come in. They just, the student is there waiting in the lobby, mm-hmm. and they do the lesson and then they go out. And so I never see the parent. But I've already established a relationship with most of them.
Okay.
If I have an issue, I'll end the lesson 5 minutes early and I'll walk out to the vehicle. I don't have a problem with that.
Have you ever done that?
Yes, I do it all the time.
Oh, okay.
No, I do it. I do it all the time because I had one. I hadn't seen the parent in a while. Well, I want to see the parent. I want to say, hey, she's just doing a great job. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope everything is okay. Most parents appreciate that. Okay, that I've gone out of my way to see how they were doing. Okay, now it's left up to your personality because sometimes being out there with all those people, if you're more introverted, that's too many people. And you have to know what's good for you. For me, I go out there and since I've been here for a minute, I know a lot of the parents, even though their children don't take from me, I've seen them for a while, and I talk to the parents. They'll say, hey, and I might think of something, hey, how are you doing? Or and they'll see me, hey, how you doing? And so it's just about rapport.
But okay, here's the bonus question then.
No,
okay, because now you got me hooked.
That's fine. That's fine.
So okay, so let's say you do have an introverted teacher or several introverted teachers.
Okay.
Wouldn't you say it would still help them in their studio, like going the extra mile, like just talking to the parents in the lobby or in the parking lot or anything, because that could potentially give them like a higher boost in retention and a more student influx in their teaching. And I'm not saying you're either introverted or extroverted. Like I personally think you can probably change who you are in that matter. It's just all about just shifting your lifestyle,
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion, and I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers. I don't want a bunch of introverts just throwing rocks in my studio as a result, saying, you don't know me. I'm like, you're right, I don't. I'm just...
Now, let me preface this. He's an introvert, okay? I'm surprised I got him to do this, because he's very much an introvert. But what it is this. You have to know your level of meeting people.
Right.
Okay? You have to know your level, because if that's too many people for you, it does you no good to go there. It causes you more anxiety. But unless you can just focus just on that one parent, and the interaction is so short, it's less than 30 seconds. Most of the time that the interaction is less. Most of the time it's less than a minute, because if your studio, if you're full, you've got to make sure that you stay on time. And so most of the time I end my lessons at around like 28 minutes. So then that way, I can give them this, I can give them some final pointers, and then if I want to, I can walk out there very quickly. And so the interaction is less. It's probably about 15 to 20 seconds. Hey, how you doing? He or she did a great job today. And whatever. It ends up being 30 seconds. But if you're an introvert, that's too much. Don't do that, because then that's going to make you anxious for your next student, and your next students don't deserve that anxiety.
You're right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So if you can just focus, if you can hone in on just that one parent, go straight to that one parent, ignore all the rest of them. You hate to do it, but you're an introvert. You know your level of comfort. Go to that one parent. Hey, they did a great job today. I just wanted to come out, just to see, if you had any questions for me.
Right.
Turn around and go back. Go back to your office.
Straightforward, dude. That was an awesome interview, man. That was awesome.
Interview.
Oh, okay, not an interview.
Yeah,
but
it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, we got to go to work after this.
Yeah.
So
that's all the questions I had for you, good sir.
All right. Well, hey guys, you take care. What's your name?
David. Oh yeah, I'm David Savori. Once again, I'm the guitar teacher and piano teacher here at Avalon School of Music.
And I'm Isaac, and I teach voice and piano here at Avalon. So you guys take care. Appreciate you watching. Peace.
Peace.